to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. If you are listening in real time, it is Christmas Day 2018, and I hope that if you celebrate Christmas, you're enjoying yourself and you are with your family and friends. So here's the thing. Today's show is a replay of Damen Jenkins, and the reason that I'm replaying this show is two reasons. Number one, this is an excellent show. Damen really opened up and shared a lot of things with us that helped him break through and learn the principles of running a profitable interior design firm. But I'm also sharing this episode to help you remember and remind you why you want to meet Damen Jenkins in person. Because if you have already signed up for Luann Nigara Live, it's about the conversation, then you are one of the lucky interior designers who is going to meet Damen in person. And if you're sitting on the fence and you are listening in real time, you have until January 8th to get your ticket at the early bird rate and also to put your name in the hat for the drawing for a free one-on-one 1-hour coaching session with one of the 14 of us. So today, re-listen to the episode with Damen. Remind yourself of what it feels like to be inspired by designers that go ahead of you and that have accomplished things. And in like Corey's case, explain to us, that it's not all easy all the time. And we might look at him with his, licenses with Leathercraft or Hudson Valley Lighting and his terrific interior design firm and the success that he has and think, oh, it's always easy for other people. Nuh-uh. That's not the case. And Damen really shared with us what it took to get his firm up and off the ground and profitable. It's a very, very, very special episode, and I hope you enjoy it. So have a very Merry Christmas. If you're not celebrating Christmas, I hope you're at the movies having a great time after the podcast, of course. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. I have another outstanding show for you today. I guess I say that a lot probably, right? But I am having such a blast meeting these amazing people every single week. And I get so excited, not only during the conversation, but when I listen back to them to edit them. And Damen Jenkins is here with me today, and he is certainly no exception to the amazing people that I have been meeting. What you are going to learn is what I learned while talking with him, is that he is one of the good guys. And I mean it. I mean, really one of the good guys. The kind of person that everyone can agree that he's open, sincere, humble, giving. Look, you're going to figure that out for yourself as you listen to Damen today. I'm sure of it. What you may or may not know about him is that he is the principal of Damen Jenkins Associates, which is located in Birmingham, Michigan, and that in 2011, television audiences voted him the winning design star of HGTV's Showdown. And since then, it's been a whirlwind of accomplishments. He has been featured in Traditional Home, The Wall Street Journal, House Beautiful, Domino, Architectural Digest, The Detroit News, and more. Damen has also appeared as a guest speaker on Fox 8 News WGHP, and he has appeared at various market shows and design centers across the country.
He also has received several honors in the industry, such as the Fashion Group International Night of Stars Award for Interior Design and multiple Detroit Home Magazine awards. And today we'll talk about how his biggest childhood dream came true in 2016 with the launch of his first couture furniture collection, Corey Damen Jenkins, exclusively for Leathercraft. And this collection was nominated for the prestigious 2017 Arts Award for Best Product Design. So once you hear Corey Damen speak, it'll come as no surprise to you that he also strongly believes in giving back to the design community. His firm generously supports a number of charities, including Housing Works, Design on a Dime, Variety for the Children, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and DIFA, Dining by Design in New York City. So I'm going to tell you just a tiny bit here about Kimberly Seldon's Business of Design, and then I'm going to introduce you to Corey Damen Jenkins. My thanks to our sponsor, Business of Design. Have you heard about Business of Design? Well, Business of Design is for you, interior design professionals who love your work because it matters so much. I know you want your clients to get the best every time because it's going to affect the way they live for years to come. But doing your best work isn't possible if you can't dedicate yourself to it. And you can't dedicate yourself to it if it doesn't earn you a living. Let me tell you, Business of Design is just for you, the passionate, talented designer who longs to run a better business. With more than 100 easy-to-follow courses, membership with Business of Design will liberate your talent and your skill by showing you a system for design management that supports you, empowers you, and lets you love your work again. Go to businessofdesign.com and see for yourself everything I'm describing. Join today and start to turn your business in the right direction. Hi, Corey. Thank you so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Well, thank you for having me, Luann. How are you?
Good, good, good. We've had our troubles getting this set up, haven't we?
Yes, but you know what? Things take a while sometimes, but eventually they come together. So we are finally together, which is great.
That's right. Between you're being a busy man and then you had internet issues at your office. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
I totally commiserate with you
difficulties.
that. Yes. 3 days without power. That's not anything any one of us wants to kind of live through there. But we are here today, and I'm very grateful and thankful that you joined me. I know that you're busy. So here's the thing, Corey. One of the first questions that I think of every time I come across something in, an email that I get advertising something, showing all us what's happening at High Point or the different things. Very often, you and your products and your firm are in these emails. And I know that you were on the Showdown with HGTV in 2011, and that you were the winner of that, right?
Yes. Yep.
So my question is
2012. Yep.
Yeah. So my question is, to me, it's like a chicken or the egg sort of a question. Back then, is it that you're setting up your business and the trajectory of your career, and you were looking around and said, what strategic moves can I make? And maybe you reached out and applied to various of these design sort of shows, or did you get the tap on the shoulder and they said, hey, Mr. Jenkins over there, let's what happened? How did that go, Corey?
Well, believe it or not, my close friends would tell you this. I'm actually quite shy personally. You may not be able to tell that from television and video, what you see in the press and the media, but I really am very reserved. Naturally, I like observing more than being out front, even though I obviously enjoy being out front when it's necessary. And so, initially, I did not want to do HGTV at all.
Really?
And that is an honest, I did not want to do that show. I did not. My executive producer, Patty Stone, will tell you I did not want to do it. They had to call me a couple of times. We had just come out of the recession. We were still actually building our way out of the recession around that point. And I had just opened my firm in November of 2009. And so we really didn't hit the ground running with, clients and really gain some momentum until 2010. So by the time 2011 came around in April, I got a phone call from the executive producers there at HGTV, and they were like, hey, we saw your website, and we want to feature you on the show. Now, Luann, I had just put the website up like a week and a half prior to this phone call. And I only had like one house on there. I had like, I think 2 or 3 rooms and some sketches. So we had just launched the site. I mean, it was one of those things where for a whole year and a half prior to that, we had a coming soon teaser on the website. Because I did want to have, CoreyDamenJenkins.com up and running, but we had nothing to show because we were still working on the projects. And so when we had it, so it just kind of, they called like a week and a half after we launched the site. And I did not call them back.
You're probably the only person in America as an interior designer that would not make that phone call back, right?
I did not call them back. Drew Agan, who was our one of our casting directors there, he was like, hey, we saw your site, we love your work, and we'd like to feature you on this competition. And again, as I mentioned, we were coming out of the recession, so it had been an uphill battle getting this firm off the ground and getting clients that had the vision to let me, do their projects. And, it just took a minute. And I think that having toiled through the recession, how damaged the economy was at the time, here in Michigan, my self-esteem was not in a good place. And so the idea of going on a national television show in front of millions of people on Monday nights at prime time was not exactly appealing to me. It's like, I think we all have a certain level of ambition to be interior designers, but there are different levels of it. And I wasn't at that level of ambition where I wanted to be out there on that level. I wanted the exposure. But I was thinking more like print ads and
put me in your magazine a couple of times.
Yeah,
get me some customers right here in my area.
Exactly. But so I didn't call him back. I did not call him back. And about a week later, he called again and left another voicemail. And I saw the California number on my caller ID, so I deliberately ignored it. I did not. It's not like I missed it. I knew who it was, and I was just like, I'm not taking that call. But he left a voicemail message, and he was like, hey, I just want to call you again. This is a very exciting opportunity, and it really might be worth your while to call me back about doing this show. So I consulted with some of my best friends, and they're like, Corey, you're a natural. You should do it. You're so extroverted, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, no, I'm really very shy. I can be extroverted in front of you guys one-on-one in a small group. Yeah. But on television, in front of cameras, I'm not trying to do all that.
That's incredible.
But they're like, Corey, just try it. So I called him back, and he did a great job of making the show sound achievable. Like, you can do this. This is something that's right up your alley. It's basically a show house competition. Each of the competitors are all designing show houses. You're one of them, and televised audiences are going to vote on their best show house. And even if you don't win, you got the exposure.
That's
you were on there. You get to put that credit in your bio. Right. And so I said, okay, I'll call you back. I'll let you know. And then I went back to my friends, and I was like, what do y'all think? And they're like, Corey, do it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Don't make him call you again.
Don't be a fool.
Don't let the, what's the saying? Don't let the gift horse in the mouth. At this point 3 times. So I called him back, and I said, okay, what's the next step? And so he was like, okay, I want you to at this point, Drew had turned it over to Patty, who was the other casting director. And so she was like, I want you to do a video, like a taped video of yourself to introduce yourself to the producers. And so I did that and submitted the clip, and I didn't hear anything for a few days. And so I kind of wrote it off. And a few days to me is a long time.
Right.
But to them in that industry, that's like an hour.
A minute, right. Yeah. It's like, we just got it. Leave us alone. We'll get back to you.
Right. They're doing a whole show with multiple designers. It's a national show. So there's a lot of people that they're trying to juggle. And so when I didn't hear back after about 4 or 5 days, I thought that, okay, they didn't like it, and this is their way of letting me know, so on to the next. And then she called back, and she was like, we really like your casting tape, your audition tape. We want to get you on camera with me and do some questions with me, like a volley going back and forth between you and I, and see how you do with that. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And so we did that, and again, I didn't hear anything for a few days. And so, once again, that self-esteem, that lack of confidence was setting in. And so I quickly, again, assumed the negative. okay, they're not calling me back. I didn't get through this second round of selections. And 4 days later, she's like, they loved it. They think you're great. And you've been cast. And she called from California. So she called me like around 11 o'clock at night, which was late in the day for them.
Yes.
But in Michigan, Eastern Standard Time, that was really late. I'm like, who in the world is calling me at, 11 o'clock at night? And she's like, it's Patty. Are you sitting down? I'm like, I'm actually laying down.
Like 1 minute away from being asleep.
No, seriously, I was literally in the bed. But she's like, I know it's late, but I did not want to wait till tomorrow. You have been cast.
Oh my goodness.
I said, cast for what? And she says, Corey, you got the show. I said, are you kidding me? And she says, no, they loved you. You got it. You're cast.
That's
said,
remarkable.
Okay, so that was the next phase. And then, next thing you know, you're pulling up to the shooting sites, and the other designers are there. They're accomplished, they're stylish, they're doing, much better as far as they have, large design firms, and they're mega successful. And I'm just the little rookie, underdog kid.
Is that what it was, Corey, do you think? Because, now seeing your body of work and everything you've accomplished in the past, 5 years or so since that happened, 4 or 5 years since that happened, it's clear that you are capable of it and you should have had this honor and you should have been included. But when you say that your website was up a week, what do you think it was that they saw? What do you think it was? Did you ever ask them? You understand what I'm saying. Now it would be like, yeah, look at Corey Damen Jenkins. Look at his website. Look at that work. Of course, call him.
Right.
And look,
Yeah.
and you see him interacting on all the different things. And of course, he's, a kind personality. Let's put him on. But was it really that they wanted some unknown designer as an underdog? Or what do you think it was? There had to be a hook, right?
I don't know. I know that they definitely wanted a very diverse cast. Mm-hmm. They didn't want everybody from New York and LA. They wanted to show, the entirety of America and bring designers from different pockets of the country, not just the big, cities on the coast. Mm-hmm. So I think that played a role. I think demographics played a role. Okay. They genuinely did like the style of the work, some
the
of the
one project that was there, they really liked it.
The one project, exactly.
Yeah.
That one, and that one particular project, I'm very, proud of that project, but it was one that was definitely a challenge as far as, I'm not normally one that does a lot of French country, French provincial style design, but that's what that client wanted. And so, but it worked out well because when I did the actual, project for the network, I did the project that would kind of appeal to the most as far as the masses, and most people are traditionalists. Right. Most people appreciate traditional design, so it served me well. But that's what they wanted. They wanted more of that, even if that's not my personal preferred design aesthetic. So I think that was part of it, Luann. I think that they could sense my shyness, and I think there was something to be said about juxtaposing or pitting this young up-and-coming kid against the establishment, and the establishment was, incredibly talented and brilliant, and I love them all so much, and we remain friends to this day. But I was definitely the new kid on the block.
Isn't that something?
I think that was just, it was, I did not think I was going to win. I'll tell you that.
That's another thing, right? Now to hear the whole story. When I read that you won, I'm like, all right, he won. Of course he won. He's Corey Damen Jenkins. But to hear the whole backstory now, it's like, wow, he wasn't really who he was yet.
No, I think I will tell you this, Luann. When I was doing Showdown, I was combating two different contestants. I was battling the contestants on the show, and I was battling my inner contestant. I was battling myself. Something? So I think that a lot of times designers, because we are artists and we are a sensitive bunch, and our creative powers are fueled by our emotions and our sensitivities as members of the human species. When we get shaken emotionally, it can affect what we do and how we perform as professionals. And so I think that at that moment, I was just in a place in my life where, emotionally and professionally, I just wasn't where I wanted to be yet. I was just starting this thing off the ground. So I was battling my own self-esteem, I think, throughout the entirety of the show. Not so much second-guessing my abilities as far as doing the job, but just is this a big waste of time? Will there be a payoff? Could I be doing something else a bit more effective with my time? Will I be a laughing stock if I flop and fall on my face? And if and when that happens, I can tell myself, if and when that happens, how will you spend that? How will you spend that loss? I kept telling myself, how will you spend the loss on the show? I never considered
the winning.
That never crossed my mind. That just was not part of my reality.
Isn't that
so
something?
when they told me that I won, I broke down and cried. I mean, the tears. I'm a very ugly crier. Very ugly crier. My face contorts into shapes, that are really not attractive. But I think it was because you had 2 years of pent up pressure and stress and feelings of depression kind of flooding out at that moment. It was amazing.
That's so amazing. And how really, I mean, how lucky we are that you shared that with us. I mean, seriously, Corey, you know what, listen, I first want to say, I know that you've been on both Nick's show and James's show. So there's a whole lot more backstory, to what you keep alluding to, the struggle to come out of the recession and, and struggling with getting the business started. And I've heard the interviews on both of those shows. So people really should go and listen to, there's more detail in those programs, but I don't recall this part coming out, that you really truly expressing through this whole process that it never occurred to you that you'd win. I think that that's pretty significant, because I look, when we look at you now and we look at the beautiful design that you do and all of the things that you've achieved, and of course we're going to talk about the furniture collection for Leathercraft and everything later in the interview, but I don't know that I can understand the fleeting moment. I can understand the fleeting insecurity. It's a big platform. It's a big stage. Exactly like you said, what happens if I flop in front of the entire world here? But I would not have expected you to say that it really was an overriding demon that you fought through the whole process. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
I didn't think I was going to win even when they were getting ready to air the show. We aired we filmed 2 different versions of the ending of the show. So my runner-up and I, they announced me first as the winner, and the crowd cheered. And then they announced, and then they told everyone, okay, we're going to film this again because we don't want any of you people here here on site to know who really won, because we don't want you all to go back and tell all your friends and family what you saw here today at this live taping, and the next thing you know, it's ruined before it airs. So we're going to film this a second time, and now we're going to have the runner-up as the winner, and we want you all to clap and cheer as if you had heard the news for the very first time. So we filmed it again with my runner-up winning, and everyone clapped and cheered. And so I walked away from that thinking, okay, did I win or did I not win? Did I really get this or did I? And then we had a sit-down conversation with Sue Side, who is my, much adored executive producer of the show. And she asked me some questions about what I thought about the experience. And I gave her my feedback. And this is all on camera. And she says, well, we did film 2 different outcomes. But I wanted you to know that you really did win. You are the real winner.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
You have to keep it confidential for X amount of months before we air, but you are the real winner. And that was the moment I think lost my emotional composure, because the whole time I kept thinking that this thing is rigged, it's jinxed, it's set up, because I had just this really unfortunate view of myself. And so that's when I really said, okay, wow, I really did win. But I will tell you this, Luann, even up until I think we finally got on the air in the spring of that year. The following year, so it was a long wait.
Wow.
Filming in the summer, and then they brought us back in March. Even up to that point, right up to the viewing party,
you weren't sure.
I was still thinking they're going to show the other version. They're going to film the other version. This is all one big hoax. And so when it wasn't until that actual moment when I saw myself on national television as the winner that it finally set in that I had really, really won. And it wasn't just a vocal victory lap, but it really was a visual one too, and that everyone else had seen the same thing that I was seeing with my friends and family on TV. So, yeah.
That is just the most amazing story I think I've heard on the podcast in a year.
Yeah,
Because it's just so unexpected. Do you know what? I don't know if you. Do you have the perspective? Can you imagine my perspective on this being that surprised? I mean, you have a sense now of your platform and what your image is to the rest of us. I mean, you must, right?
Well, I mean, I am very grateful and thrilled that there's been a great reception to my brand and the work that I do, and I'm very honored, obviously, by the success that our design firm has received. But I never take it for granted.
No. Right.
I don't beat myself up quite as badly as I used to. I think I had to kind of grow out of that. Period. That was just a phase of my life. I think when you're 20s and 30s, you go through those phases where you're figuring out who you are as an adult. So I had to kind of work out of that. And I had been through a very terrible storm, as you alluded to with the other two podcasts. I had been through a very distinctive storm in my life that turned my world upside down. So I understand the emotional damage that came from that, but I also understand what it took to repair that damage, but also to learn. When a city's hit by an earthquake, Luann, and it shakes the city to its ground and destroys it. People learn from that.
Right.
I think about the World Trade Center in New York. That was a social earthquake that rocked our nation. Those two planes took out those buildings, and of course it had the Pentagon, and thousands lost their lives. Eventually, we rebuilt the World Trade Center, but we built it differently.
Right.
We will never again build two buildings like we did in that way, where planes can take them down so easily. That new building is gorgeous, it is gracious, it's elegant, but it is designed to not succumb to that level of attack. So you learn from it. And I think that what happened with me, Luann, was that I got an earthquake, I got attacked, and I got shaken to my core. But then I got a chance to rebuild myself. So now the new CDJ remembers where he was.
Yes.
He's still a building, but I'm constructed a bit differently. I'm not saying I'm invincible by any means, but I learned how to rebuild myself with new technology, learn from the past, learn from the mistakes that I went through, including the self-esteem, issues. You work through all of that. And now you know how to withstand the attacks that will come in the future. There will be additional earthquakes. There will be additional attacks. How can you withstand those without crumbling to the ground? You can take dents, you can take smashed windows. That's inevitable. But do you have to crumble? And that's the difference. I think that's where a lot of designers have to really, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, as it were, and realize that we're going to have disappointments. The question is, how do you manage them? And do you let them crumble you, that and everything that you are, down to the ground? Or can you take the hit, wince, cry, maybe lick your wounds, and then rebuild? That's the difference.
Amazing. It's so inspirational. I have to tell you, truly, because it would be inspirational if it just was the HGTV show, and then off into the sunset, you run this successful firm, in your pond in Michigan, and, was just, and I say just as if that's not an accomplishment. Many of us out here are small business owners that are just big fish in our little ponds, and that's hard enough to do every day, and there's great pride and great challenges that come with doing that. So that would be enough. But to now really understand, how much further you've taken it and realize the base that it came from, and like you said, the internal growth and the awareness and the lessons that you've learned along the way that contribute to where you are, it's really remarkable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just like to keep it real.
You definitely do.
More of us need to keep it real. I think too many of us try to walk around here as if nothing ever goes wrong, that we've just had these amazing projects, just fall out the heavens into our laps. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. That does happen.
Right.
But there is something to be said for struggling and for earning your keep. And I have definitely been through the tests and the storms, and I'm grateful for them. People will say, Luann, would you change anything? Or people will even say, I wouldn't change anything if I could do it all over again. I will tell you, I would definitely change some things. I would definitely do some things differently. But what's done is done, and life is short. And so you have to take future opportunities, as they come to you, and really try to make good, sound decisions going forward, and then share with other people what you've learned.
Right.
Don't be stingy with the gems you've picked up along the way. If you can, I think about that fable, the Hans Christian Andersen story of Hansel and Gretel. I think that's the writer. They went into this forest and they tried to leave breadcrumbs to find their way out of that forest. And I think that there's something to be said for being willing to leave breadcrumbs for others. So many of us don't want other people to follow our path to success. There's enough room for everybody. And if the moment that you think that there's not enough room for you, that actually underscores a weakness within yourself. Or if you don't think there's enough room for other people alongside you, that also underscores a weakness. So share your breadcrumbs,
Man. That's awesome. I love it. You are something else, truly. And you know what? I knew that I was going to like you. You have a reputation, right?
I hope it's good.
It is. Your reputation is one of being very kind and very sweet and very gracious, truly. And we met really, really quickly, you and I, at What's New, What's Next, or in New York, like 5 seconds. And there is always, it's funny because people don't realize that in truly 5 seconds, you can get an impression of somebody. I mean, I know it. I've had a gabillion 5-second moments with people, and I come away, I either turn away and I smile and I think, terrific person, seems like a person I could talk to, or I walk away and I think to myself, whatever. Whatever. I mean, and I 5 second and I thought, oh, he is his reputation.
Well, thank you. My contractors might disagree with you on that, but
well, that doesn't mean you can't have a firm hand running your business.
Well, hey,
that's it. That's how you get it done. But I would fall over if you weren't a gentleman in the process. I'm sure that you are. You can. There's a way to be firm and have high expectations and still be a decent human being about it, and I'm sure that you cover that. So I have a question, one more sort of question after this whole HGTV thing is, from a strategic standpoint, now you win this show, and as you said, even if you hadn't won, the platform, has some wings there, right? Yeah. So once you win, do you then sit back, either yourself, like you mentioned your friends a couple of times, or people that work for you, do you sit back with a team and do you actually say, how do we capitalize on this? Or do you hire a PR firm at that point and say, how do I maximize this? Or does the rest just continue to happen organically for a while and the organic reach of the program increases the client base and XYZ?
I think it's really a mix of the three.
Okay.
Luann, to be honest with you. People have to like you. They have to like what they see in media. So I know that when I did my show, I got a tremendous amount of outpouring of support, handwritten letters, emails from people from all over the country. And I'll tell you that the people I spoke to and heard from were people that were looking and could see something in my experience that they could relate to. A lot of young African American and Hispanic and Asian design students who were young people coming up into the industry that did not see a lot of people that looked like them on television.
Right.
And also winning, winning their challenges. And so a lot of folks were telling me, hey, I was going to quit this whole design industry thing and go into a completely different field until I saw you on television. So there's that. People have to like what they see, and that is the organic aspect of it. If you are a snob or condescending on camera, or if you're a jerk, it will come across. Absolutely. And the human species is a very perceptive species. We do run on instinct to an extent, and so that will not attract to you any new fans. As far as agents and things like that, and PR agents, they do play a role, But again, you have to give them something to work with. Mm-hmm. It's like a chef in a kitchen. You can have a great chef that's putting his best effort into the meal, but if the ingredients in the meal are not right, or if it tastes nasty, no one's going to eat it. I don't care how pretty it is on the plate. I do speak in analogies. I'm sorry.
I love it. It makes it very visual.
Sort of illustration, but he can play as many garnishes and little flourishes on the plate all he wants. But if it tastes like mess, right. I'm sorry, it's not going to be edible. So an agent can push you out there, Luann. He can get you exposure, or at least get you in front of the right people. But if your work is not good, you're not going to get published or featured. Mm-hmm. If you're an arrogant jerk, editors and television show executives, they're not going to want to work with you. Right. These are powerful people. These executives, these editors, they're powerful people, and they are accomplished folks, and they know what it takes, the grit and the blood and the sweat and the tears it takes to make anything happen. So they're turned off by anyone who comes in there thinking that they're better than them, or that they somehow are benefited by their presence. There are a million people out there that are talented, so they'll go to the next person. So your agent can only do so much if you're not legitimately talented and if you're not a nice guy. Right. So have a strategy. By all means, have a strategy, but be humble, be nice to people. That's really important. And make sure your work is edited and that it looks good, because that will make it easier for them to sell you as a product, as a brand.
It's great advice. I love it. I love it a lot.
Be nice.
That's it. Be nice. Corey says be nice.
I can tell you, there are people who are incredibly talented, Luann, in this industry, but they don't even know. But the people that they're working with they turn their noses up. They what's the word? They pinch their nose to deal with them, because the arrogance and the condescension, no one wants to deal with that. So be nice.
Yes.
Be down.
I agree.
Life is short,
It's the truth. And I think that when you mentioned the instinct, when somebody, that people have good instinct for it, that was a good way to describe what I was trying to say. When I met you, my initial gut instinct reaction was everything I'm hearing right now. And it was literally, "Hi, I'm Luann. Would you like to be on my podcast? You don't know who I am."
Right. I'm like, sure. Great.
That's it. You're just smiled at me. Oh, okay. That's great. Here, take my card. Call my people.
Yep,
and you didn't even say call my people. I'm just being facetious there. But I mean, it's the truth. It's initial gut instinct on somebody, and you're just saying what you're explaining to everybody is that if you're coming up and you expect to make a name for yourself, and you expect for others to talk you up and introduce you to people that can influence and pave a road for you, you need to be humble and grateful and gracious along the way.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
What people react to, and people can relate to that. The Greek word for humble or humility, the original Greek root word is humus, Humus. And when you translate that word to English, it means dirt-like. So keep your head to the ground. If you stay grounded, if you do make a mistake or slip up, you don't have very far to fall. And people like looking at things that are ground level, that they can relate to. When you crank your neck up and look too high up in the sky, the sun gets in your eyes, you can't see anything, it's blinding. People don't stare that long at things that are too high above them. So stay eye level, and people can relate to you more. And that goes for every industry, not just interior designers,
Absolutely.
but any field. If you are approachable and you are at eye level, you stay grounded, people are going to love being around you.
It's terrific. It's terrific advice. I'm going to tell you what, I could talk with you about that all day long. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and I'm going to tell everybody about Cravat, and then we're going to come back and talk about the next phase of your career, which was, among other things, the launching of your new collection with Leathercraft recently, right?
Cool. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yes, hang on one second. Hi, taking a minute here to share my great thanks to the featured sponsor of the podcast, Cravat Inc., and also to tell you about CuratedCravat.com. With the introduction of CuratedCravat.com in 2015, Cravat has truly become the first and the last stop for all things design. At CuratedCravat.com, they maintain an edited collection of the most unique, high-quality finished products across all categories for the home, including furniture, lighting, bedding, rugs, accessories, and so much more. Their comprehensive collection features customized designs as well as unique hand-picked pieces from the global design market. Here's my favorite part. I've been very vocal about this. This is all available exclusively to the trade, to you, the interior designer, through an e-commerce platform. That's right, no direct consumer purchasing. They have your back at Kravet Inc. And I would love to know if you've checked out their innovative, ready-to-ship upholstery program. This program features a selection of their most popular Kravet frames and fabrics packed for immediate shipment. This is groundbreaking in our industry. Where else can you, as an interior designer, find someone that has your back, trade only, and delivers custom quality furniture fast? I'll tell you where else. Nowhere else. That's where else. Now, designers, you can also shop the site by product category, by stylized product stories, and by the curated rooms designed by industry tastemakers. These same people that we've had on the show, and you've heard them talk about it. Candace Olson, Denise McGahey, Elizabeth Lamont, to name a few. At CuratedKravet.com, they are committed to making your job more efficient by providing unmatched customer service coupled with an exceptional product offering. They stand firm in their mission to serve the interior design trade at the very highest level. Here's another fabulous feature that I love. The process is so simple. Yes, it is. Design, click, deliver. That's it. It's that simple. So head over to CuratedKravet.com. See it for yourself. See all the beautiful things and see how simple it is. And then guess what? When you're ready to check out, you get to take 10% off a single purchase as a listener of this podcast. Just for you. Enter CK Podcast, CKPODCAST at the checkout, and you'll get 10% off as a thanks for listening to the podcast. And I want to say thank you and thanks to Kravet. Okay, so let's talk about this Leathercraft collection. So first of all, I want to know how it happened.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
So a couple of things that I know about it that I love to share with people listening before you go into it is, what I know is that this is unlike a lot of companies that do licensing with many talented interior designers. This is the first time in Leathercraft's entire history that they've done this with an interior designer. You're the very first one, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yep, 56 years. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Is that something, again, chicken or the egg? Did you ask them, I have an idea and I think it would be marketable? Or did they say, hey, Mr. Jenkins, you're the man?
Well, you got to know me now a little bit now. You know I didn't approach them. So that's not going to happen. That didn't happen that way. Again, that shy kid from Detroit kind of comes in there sometimes.
I thought by now they would have been like, okay, I'm the guy. I can ask now. No?
No. What happened with Leathercraft is, they were extremely, popular, really big name in the 80s and 90s. And then other competitors came into the circle there in the industry, and they had a board of directors that were kind of stuck on a certain branding technique that had worked well for them for decades prior to that, but it didn't keep up with the new times. The new times, exactly. And so a lot of those designers that they were working with in the 80s and 90s, many of them retired and left the industry because they got older. Right. And so there's a whole generation of young people, 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s that did not know Leathercraft at all, that were kind of lost to the branding of that company. So when they had a big, turnover as far as, new, fresh, faces as far as executives that were running the company, this new blood came in and they're like, listen, we need to completely revamp ourselves and become more 21st century in our reach for the consumer. And their main consumer is not the retail. Their main bread and butter is still designers. That's their main wellspring of success is the design community. So they decided that the best way to really get a new vibe out there was to do a licensed collection. So Eric Bauer, who handles their, marketing and social media development, was part of this meeting. And Eric had been a friend of mine on Facebook and social media for a while, a couple of years, I think, prior to that. So he had seen me and we had met, and talked at various markets, prior to that. We were cool. And on my website, I had said that, I have an agent, and if you need to, if you want to speak to me about anything regarding licensing or any kind of collaboration, media, whatever, reach out to my agent. And so that's what he did. And so he brought us all together. We sat down in October of 2015 and had an amazing, warm reception. And because they are American-based here in Hickory, North Carolina, we were able to pull together a pretty massive collection and turn around quickly by April of the following year. So that's the beauty of working domestically with talent here in the States. There's a certain cachet of American made. We're very proud of that. But it really did work to our advantage as far as the timing and the logistics of turning around a collection and capitalizing on all the buzz and the momentum from the announcement of this partnership.
It's another remarkable story. I just love the idea. First of all, I love the idea from the standpoint of Leathercraft of, taking stock of themselves and saying, okay, we're lost in the wrong decade here. We're walking in circles and we're doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result, right? So they get their head out of the box and figure out the new wave. And the truth is, they must be thrilled because it's the truth. I'm in this industry going on 30 years and it's like, Leathercraft who? like where, they're just all over now. And to me, it was like sort of like you said, I kind of know that name, but I don't really think much of it. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden it's just every single time I turn around, there's another email with these gorgeous, shots of your furniture. And it really has infused their company.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. We are actually excited about January of 2017 because I was honored to be nominated for a 2017 Arts Award for Best Product Design for the Leathercraft collection.
Wow.
And so that's huge, and that's an international award of excellence. And
wow, congratulations! That is a big deal.
So happy for them. Yeah, I'm obviously thrilled to be recognized, but I'm especially happy for them because these are families, Luann. These are down-to-earth, normal, regular people that I've come to know and love over the last year and year and a half, and they're just...
Their business is saved. It's completely re-energized. It's no question. Yes. And
you go on the production line. You see mothers and daughters working side by side on the line, making furniture and making, pillows and things like that, and the attention to craftsmanship and details. But these are families that have been pulled together, have been together for so long, and to see them come into the limelight like this, to emerge from obscurity, not complete obscurity, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
to really
I do.
Be on the
and their
map
line
like
is
that.
busy now. Now they're producing and they've got to come to work and there's a lot to be done. I'm sure they're selling like crazy.
Yeah, I'm so happy for them.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
really happy to be part of it, and just really happy to see them taking their rightful place in the industry once again. It's great. That's the purpose. That was the whole goal of doing the collaboration, was to bring them to the forefront. So it's wonderful.
It's really another really beautiful story. I love it. So here's another thing that I learned when I was looking into you and your business and so forth, which I didn't know before this. And I don't know, it had to probably come in one of the email blasts, but I did not know this before, that first of all, the line is amazing. The line has got, I heard Libby Langdon describe it as fun, bold, sexy, and it truly represents Corey's person, right? So,
I love Libby. She's such a sweetheart.
Yes. When I saw that, I thought, oh, isn't that a good line? But the thing is, you've got green leather chairs and red leather sofas and different things like that. And I heard that you said that one of the inspirations for that particular color palette was from a Kate Spade fabric for Cravat. And I thought,
yes.
How did that happen? What's that connection there? Was
Well,
it
I'm a
just a
huge
coincidence? You just thought that that's fabric, or are you connected with Kate Spade and Cravat on a marketing way as well?
No, well, first of all, we're huge fans of Cravat. We purchase a lot of their product for our clients' homes. And so when I was working with the Leathercraft executives at Showtime, we, of course, stopped by the Cravat showroom to see what the latest and greatest offerings were going to be for the spring of 2016. And they brought out this fantastic Kate Spade collection. And there was a colorway there that just really spoke to me. And it had a lot of bold colors. It had black and red and aqua and apple green and white. And that particular color combination, for whatever reason, just really struck me as the one thing to kind of build from. And of course, we added many other fabrics and leathers into the equation along with their collection to kind of flesh it out a bit more. But it served to be the touchstone for the debut of the spring collection. And we wanted something that was going to be very vibrant and sexy and stylish and kind of fashion forward. And that really captured that essence, I think, for us. And yeah, we painted the walls aqua and and let the rest of the collection do its thing, and it was very well received. We had, I think, over like 500 people at the opening party, and Traditional Home Magazine was sponsoring us, so it was huge. I was very happy to see everyone come out for it.
And are those demons of insecurity, are they finally waning in your mind? Are you all, do you understand? And I know you appreciate it. I do know that. I can hear that you appreciate everything that you've earned and everything that you've accomplished. But are those demons gone? Do you get it now? Do you stand there and go, okay, I got this?
I have them on a leash.
That's a good way to say it.
I have them on a leash. They are always going to be there because that's part of my makeup. That's how I'm wired. And other people don't have that. Other people have other things to deal with. But that's what I have to deal with. And I have no problem saying that because I think that awareness is power. Like they always say in the 90s, knowledge is power. Well, awareness is powerful as well. So as long as you're aware of what your situation is and you have it under control, you can use it to your benefit. I think it's good to stay grounded, like we mentioned earlier. They will always be there, but they have a place.
Okay,
and
you can put them in a little box.
I have them on a shelf. I like being able to see my flaws. I like being able to see them because they remind me of where I was, where I'm at, and where I'm going.
Okay, very good. So talk a little bit about some of the pieces of the furniture in the line and some inspiration. I know the tete-a-tete chair, the tete-a-tete was such a big hit. Everybody was talking about it. It's so beautifully designed, and that you named it after your mom.
I did, yeah. Named that one after my mommy. Yep, Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn, yes.
Yes. So,
and I love why you said how that you came to explain to everybody who may have not heard that.
Well, my mom, she raised a family, and she carried all of us with such grace and style and panache. And my dad is a very formidable character in himself. He's a good man. He's a very good man, but he is a storm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, he's a formidable presence. And so for her to handle all of us children and him with such grace and style and elegance for so many years, they're still married. They're heading towards 50 years of marriage as I say this. And
isn't that something?
they've just done so well, and have just become so graceful and beautiful in their older age. And so that tete-a-tete can carry the weight of more than one person. And it was designed to be curvaceous and sexy and stylish, but also very functional. And that's what my mother is. She's all of those things as far as the grace and the elegance, but she's a functional person. She carries a lot of water and a lot of weight in a good way.
And you can rely on her. She's sturdy, right?
Yeah, she's not going anywhere. And again, the tete-a-tete is low to the ground. So again, she's very humble. So it just really made sense to name it after her because I think she's just the perfect package of grace and humility. And the tete-a-tete, I think, was a big hit because people could use it like in a foyer or in a hotel lobby or an airport. There's so many different functions for it. So yeah.
I love it. I love that. And how proud is your mother of all the things that you've done? But for her, was she touched? She had to be touched that you named
Oh
it,
yeah.
especially because of the description and why the inspiration was there, right?
Yeah, she has like, she's a box for each child that she collects paraphernalia and, things, that we've
Memories.
done. Yeah, all the way from kindergarten up till now. And
Isn't that
my
so?
box probably has the most stuff in it because, my family are bankers. All of my siblings are all in the banking industry. So I'm not saying they don't
Oh,
get awards, but
right.
the press and the magazines and the television show and all that stuff, you get a
It's
lot more
different.
stuff as far as
Yes.
so my box is a little full right now, and I always crack up when I see that. But she just keeps adding to it, and she's very happy about the ability to have things to add to that collection. Her sisters, now want pieces of furniture named after them. So I gotta keep working it out for all my aunts, to get them all stuff named after them next. So we're
That's
working on that. I got
adorable.
2 done. I got 1 more to go. But yeah, it's been a great ride.
Is the Anastasia daybed named after one of the ants?
No,
No,
actually
no.
it wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know where Anastasia came from. It was just I
Okay.
just liked the name.
Yes,
So
that's an interesting piece. I mean, I don't imagine that there's anybody listening that's not familiar with you and your furniture line. But if they're not, you definitely we'll put the links in the show notes and on our website, and of course we'll say your website and so forth. But that Anastasia daybed is also a very beautiful piece. It's I've never seen something that combines traditional with then you've got the lucite on the ends. It's just the
lucite
sides,
panels.
the lucite panels. It's really very creative. And before you go, could you give us a little insight into the process of creating furniture from your mind? I mean,
Sure, absolutely. I
okay.
mean, it's not easy. I mean, it's a lot of hard work because it's hard to reinterpret furniture in a way that makes a statement because it's all been done before.
That's
There's
what I'm
only
saying.
so many
Like,
ways
it's
to
a
make a
chair is a
sofa.
chair.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But what I try to do is I look at fashion. I look at the works of, designers like Jean-Paul Gaultier and
Mm,
Belmont and, Elie Saab and, just the different designers that are really making a statement with their fashion collections. And with the Leathercraft collection, I wanted to take what I was seeing on the fashion runway in Paris and somehow interpret that with furniture. How many ways can you push the medium of leather? Can we pleat it? Can we
mm,
drape it? And maybe not just leather, maybe it's vinyl or fabric. How many different ways can we push the envelope with these different textiles and make a more fashion forward surprise? So a lot of the furniture I design is designed to not only look great up against the wall, but to float in a room. Like my Alexia chair, I have a large pleat on the back of the chair, and we have a frog that
yes.
closes it. So if you're floating in the room, it's attractive because when you look at a fashion runway, Luann, you'll see a model come down the runway. She looks gorgeous, but then she makes a turn, right? She comes down the runway,
Right.
and you look at her from the front, and then she turns, and you see the train or however the back
Right.
line is as she retreats back to the dressing room. So I feel that furniture should look good not just from the front, but from the side and from the back and from every angle. So the sofas have lots of dressmaker details and button tufts and pleats and things that are fashion forward. So no matter what angle you look at it, no matter where you sit it in the room, it looks great and it can carry its own voice in that space.
That's true. I love it. I love to hear the way because now that you describe it, of course, having looked at many of the pieces in the line, it's so clear the inspiration there, and it's true. It's nice that it's not just something that you could only look at from one or two angles.
Right. Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
a lot more effort, it's a lot more work, and of course the craftsmanship is stunning on Leathercraft's end. But I think that designers will appreciate it. We wanted to have a designer line that they could really have fun with and make it their own, and could stand the test of time, be classic, and still be modern at the same time.
Very nice. Very nice. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was my great honor and privilege and
Yeah.
pleasure to be with you today.
I really enjoyed learning more about you and getting to know you. Before you go, Corey, the website is?
www.CoreyDamenJenkins.com, and that's DAMEN, and Corey with an E.
Right. I know. It's tricky all in there, right?
Yes, I know. It's too many syllables.
But you know
hey,
what?
I
You
can't
are
change
now. But the thing is, you're at the point now where if you just spell it any old which way, it's going to come up in Google.
We should do just cdj.com. That's what we really should do, is just make it simple. But
yeah, but you're you. You're already Corey Damen Jenkins. We're all used to it.
What it is. Exactly. The mold is set.
That's
so
it. That's
whatever.
it. It's a great mold. I'll tell you what. Your mom and dad did a good job with you. You're a great man. I really, really, really enjoyed meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Didn't you think it was kind of funny that Corey Damen thought he had to kind of, I don't know, apologize for using stories to express ideas? I love that. I thought that was perfect. I more stories the better. I could have listened to them all day. How about you? I particularly like the story about rebuilding and reinventing yourself or your company or both. He said, it's just like construction. When a building fails, you rebuild it better and stronger. And that doesn't mean that things are perfect. It just means that the building and or yourself are better capable to withstand the storms ahead and the earthquakes ahead. Corey Damen said, learn from the past to withstand future attacks. I love it. The other story was about Hansel and Gretel leaving breadcrumbs for others to find their way. He said, keep it real. Share your learning lessons with your colleagues. Share with others what you have learned. Don't be stingy with others along the way. So if you take a page from Corey Damen's storybook, you too will learn from your experiences. You'll cultivate self-resilience, and you'll share your expertise, your time, and your inspiration with your colleagues without reservation and without fear of being outdone. When you share your talents generously, the universe repays you. This conversation truly was our gift from Corey. Now, be sure to check out his collection for Leathercraft with the fabulous color palette inspired by Kravitz's Kate Spade collection. We will have the links on our website at www.windowworks-nj.com/Corey, Corey. All righty, guys, let's talk about this 1-year birthday party for the podcast. This show is actually airing on January 23rd, and as of now, when I'm recording in early January, the party is definitely set. It's set for February 6th, Monday night from 5 to 7 p.m., right smack in the middle of the New York Gift Show. So if you're coming in from out of town for the show, make sure you see us. And here is the best part. Do you remember Jake Baer, the 28-year-old CEO of Newell? I talked with him in episode 103. Well, Jake has invited us to have our party at his showroom at 306 East 61st Street, New York City on the 3rd floor. I don't know about you, but I've been wanting to see his showroom ever since I spoke with him on the show about, when he was telling us all about Newell, about he's the 4th generation to run this esteemed decorative arts and fine art gallery, and how they service discerning collectors and you, the interior designer. So if you missed that show, go back and listen to it because you're totally going to fall in love with Jake, and then you're definitely going to want to come to the party. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we have 2 reasons to go now: to meet all of each other and celebrate this birthday, and to meet Jake in person and see this showroom. Please look for the email this week with the Evite link in it. The event is free, absolutely free. We want you to come, but we need to know how many people are coming, if for no other reason to know how much wine to have. Let's be real, people. And if you don't RSVP and you still come and we run out of wine and refreshments, well, don't look at me. I'm just saying. So in order to respond to the Evite, you've got to be on our email list, okay? So go right now to www.windowworks-nj.com/podcasts. About halfway down on the right, you can sign up to get on the email list, all right? So it's www.windowworks-nj.com/podcasts. All right. Now, do you want to know which guests have already said they are attending? All righty. Keep in mind, I'm recording very early in January, so this list is by no means complete. But so far, here are the previous podcast guests that are coming to the party. Mulaney B., Kay Whitaker is coming in from Texas, Sandra Funk, Gail Davis, James Swan, Adam Japko, Andrew Joseph, Robin Barron, Ellen Fisher, Barbara Viteri, Amy Fleury, Charles Pavarini, Jerry Eskow, Carrie Leskowitz, Heather McManus, Deborah Rosenberg, Arlene Arngard, and Anna Brockway from Cherish is so disappointed that she can't come, but she's going to send someone from her company. So that's pretty awesome too. I'm so excited about that. And we actually have a possibility of seeing a couple of our Canadian friends, both Sarah Danielli, the CEO of My Doma Studio, and Nicole Holland, the host of Business Building Rockstars podcast, are thinking about it and trying to work it out. So how cool is that? And also we might even see Krista Cooper and Nicole Balin from Cooper Consulting in San Francisco. They're working on it too. And I'm just saying, a girl can dream. So remember, if you can hear this, you are invited. Grab a designer friend and come out to meet all of us. Ask the guests about their businesses, their product lines, their experiences. We're going to have a photographer there. Get your picture taken with them or with us. Our whole WindowWorks team will be there too. It's going to be a ton of fun. But please, 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 I'm begging you, RSVP through the Evite on the email that we're going to send out this week so that we know how many to prepare for. All righty, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have an excellent day.
Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.